Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Game Design Archive with Edward and Ludwig. I'm Ludwig, and as always, I'm joined by Edward. Hello, Edward.
Hello.
Today, we are going to discuss something very topical, which is game ownership. And the reason for that is that the past few weeks, we're a little bit late, people have been discussing this fantastic piece of news that Sony has announced that they're stopping physical games in 2028. Now, obviously, this has made a lot of people upset, hasn't it, Edward?
Yes. So before we even start discussing it, we talked about a thing earlier, right? Which is that I don't understand why they announced this now, because 2028, that's like, yeah, I mean,
1.5 years.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's not a long time, but like, people obviously care about physical games, so why not wait longer? Like, in my mind, the longer you wait, the less friction you'll have, right, with a decision like that.
Yeah, you mean like from a purely business perspective, right? Yeah.
Unless
because
yeah, go ahead.
Yes, what do you want to say?
No, unless it's like they need to go like public with it in regards to like game developers or something, right?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know if there's something with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, but they could have tried to keep it secret at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
they could
wait
have
for leaks to happen or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is true. That's very weird. Because
it's not in 3 months or something. It's like, no, it's in 1.5 years. So it's probably when they release the new console, right? That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Right. So they're saying like it's connected to the next generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably. That's my guess, right?
Yeah. That seems not unlikely.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess that's the first point I wanted to make.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why they made that decision. Or no, no. I totally understand why they made that decision, but I don't understand why they announced that decision, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because it feels like now people are gonna like have time to get mad about it and like try to do something, like bring it up to the EU or whatever.
Yeah.
But if they just announce it, I think like if they just announce it when it happened, people would just like accept it basically.
Yeah. There's also this other thing, right? I'm not too like what do you say, in the know or whatever. I don't know the details about this, but I'm fairly certain there is new regulations about monopolies like that in EU as well, right? So they would have to deal with that as well, something with the App Store, right?
Oh yeah, like Apple couldn't prohibit
other stores
from being on the iPhone or whatever. Yeah.
So they're probably gonna have to face that, but maybe that's an issue today as well, and no one has just tested it. But I'm assuming they get away with it because they sell physical games, right?
Yeah, probably.
So they would have to allow other stores.
Yeah.
Right?
Epic Game Store on the PlayStation.
I mean, I would. Have you used? No, you don't have a PlayStation, right? You haven't used it. I would rather use the Epic Game Store than the PlayStation Store. I can tell you that much. Holy crap, that store is garbage.
Yeah.
So that's like not at all the topic, right? That's just interesting
like a side note.
Yeah,
side note in the beginning.
Yeah. So I guess maybe we should start with why is this an issue, right? Because some people are like, we obviously agree that it's an issue. The issue is, I can give you concrete examples, right? For example, the ports of the cave shmups, right, made by M2, are not available in Sweden. However, there are physical copies. You know what that means? That means I can import physical copies, right?
Yeah.
So I have a Japanese physical copy of like Ketsui and Doronpachi Daiojo and stuff, right? And if there is no physical discs, I can't legally play those games anymore, right? So that's an issue, right?
Yeah.
I guess another issue is the price points, right? That's less of an issue, I think, because they technically already have a monopoly on the price, but still, no used games and no third-party people selling games, right? So they can put the price at whatever they want, which is also, not too great, right?
Yeah.
But I guess a point we want to get to, right, is that the issue is not necessarily that they're not providing physical games. It's the way they provide digital games.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good way to put it. I think on the PlayStation, right, for example, you're locked to the PlayStation Store, which has you're locked. First of all, you're locked to the physical PlayStation, right? You need to have a PlayStation 5 or whatever to even access your games.
Yeah.
But then inside that, you're also locked to the PlayStation Store and the PlayStation software ecosystem.
Yep.
And so in that case, not having access to physical games is apocalyptic, because now that they've said, we're stopping with physical games, in 10 years you're probably not going to be able to play any PS5 games, basically.
I mean, PS5
10
will be
years
fine.
is maybe
PS6 is the one that's gonna. Right?
Yeah, true. Yeah, because PS5 has physically. Yeah, true. You're correct. Yeah, PS6 games. 10 years after the PS6, okay, maybe 10 years is a bit low, but 20 years, let's say 20 years to be safe. You're basically not gonna be able to play PS6 games because Sony is not producing the PS6 anymore, and they've shut down the PS6 store or whatever. So yeah, good luck playing those games, because the only way to access them is through the PlayStation 6 ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
Unless someone has ripped the files and made an emulator and whatever, but
Right, but we'll get to emulators later.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah. And it's actually worse than that, right? Or not worse than it is as bad as you said it, right? Because we have proof that these companies, Nintendo especially, actually, I hate Nintendo the most. I don't know.
Yeah.
In this regard, Nintendo is the worst company in the universe. Which is that they closed down their stores, right?
Yeah.
So you can't buy games for PlayStation 3, I think. You can't buy games for Xbox 360. You can't buy games for 3DS. Okay. And Wii. I think Wii, you can't buy games for
didn't
Wii
they
either.
shut down Wii recently as well?
Now, some of them, I think, PlayStation, for example, 3, I think you can still download already bought games. But you can't buy new games.
Yeah.
But this is it's a bigger issue with download games, right? It shows a very what's the word? Lack of respect for the, what do you say? The old games. Is that the word?
Yeah.
For the game legacy or whatever. For the, what do you call it? What's the English word?
Yeah, legacy is a good word.
Sure, yeah, let's use that word. Yeah. My point is, if you have physical games, right? Or actually, let's not even talk about it as physical. If you have access to transferable licenses, right? So in other words, you can somehow transfer your ownership from one individual to another, right? In physical games case, it's you give them the disc, right?
Yeah.
Then it's less of an issue that they stop providing the games, right?
Yeah.
But if they are saying no, there's only digital, then they have a bigger responsibility to make sure that you can still buy the old games.
Yeah.
Right?
And they don't care about that.
Not even in the slightest, right?
Yeah, and that's where the big problem is.
So what happens is these games become, inaccessible, right? Because well, like we said with these platforms, they're monopolies. So it's not like someone else can just start a PlayStation 3 store and sell PlayStation 3 games, right? And so it's even worse in that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can even see that with like a lot of PC games that came out like between 2010 and like 2018 or whatever. Like the exact year doesn't matter. Like if there's like a really niche PC game that came out in that year, like there's actually a pretty good chance that you literally will not be able to get a hold of it. Like I don't remember what the game is called. There's this like it's I forgot who made it. Wasn't it one of the like Call of Duty, like the one of the studios that now do Call of Duty stuff? They made like a time travel shooter that was set in like Soviet Russia or whatever. I don't remember what it's called. Anyways,
I know which one you're thinking of.
Yeah, you can't get a hold of that game anymore. That was one example I thought. No, because it's like long ago. Because they took it down from Steam. Like it's probably been that way for like 10 years.
I think you can. Can you get? I thought you could get it on GOG.
No, maybe they've added it recently. Actually, I haven't checked. But I remember I tried playing that game. Maybe we're not. But I remember I tried playing that game a few years ago, and I couldn't get a hold of it. so like and I know that like there's also a lot of issues with like licensing stuff.
Yes.
Wasn't it? What's the game called? I keep forgetting game names. The BioWare game that's trying to be Mass Effect. What the fuck is it called? Alpha Protocol. Oh. That's what it's called. Yeah, so that game, like GOG added it a year or two ago. I don't remember exactly when. But before that game had been taken down from stores because of like music licensing stuff.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's like the number one reason that games get taken down from Steam and stuff like that. It's because they don't want to pay for the music licenses anymore, which is a bit insane. But yeah. So yeah, you're gonna end up. So the problem is that, you know, since these games came out like after 2010, when like physical PC games started to not really be a thing, they're really hard to get a hold of. Whereas compared to like a game that came out before that, when physical was still kind of a thing, they are much easier to get a hold of because you can. Well, first of all, they're easier to get like illegally as well, because someone has probably ripped the disc and stuff like that.
But even then legally, you can also like if you want old
even
PC
legally,
games, they're like I don't know. I could get like 100 used PC games for like I don't know, $30 or something, right?
Yeah.
Of used website, right? If it's in the if it's from the era where you could actually run them like from the discs, right? Because if we go further forward, then it's like online only code bullshit, right? So then it's just a case.
Yeah, exactly. And my point with this story, or whatever you want to call it, is that now that Sony are not doing physical games, that's exactly what's going to happen to the PS6. And
right, but it's way worse, right? True. Because it's a closed ecosystem, like we talked about earlier. Whereas with Steam, for example, Steam, sure, you need, it's DRM, right? But it's not a closed ecosystem. It's just I mean, in terms of DRM and downloading your games, yes, but you can run Steam on anything that you know is a PC. And also you can extract the game files and run them on another device, assuming some games even run without Steam, right? We've talked about that.
Exactly. That's like one other big problem with the PS6, right? I guess that's kind of what you said, but to clarify, right? I cannot access the game files in my PlayStation. Unless I do something that's probably illegal, right? Whereas with Steam, I can go into the game folder and I can press Control-C and then Control-V in another folder. And then, you know, I might not be able to start the game without Steam DRM or whatever. Or not Steam DRM, but you get what I'm saying. But I still have the files. And they can be cracked or whatever, so they can be played in the future, right? And you don't have that with the PS6 in the same way.
No. No, you can't even download them if you don't have a PS6.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Whereas with the Steam thing, you just need something that can run Steam, which I mean, it's still DRM, right? But it's not it's not quite the same. Now, obviously, I don't know if we made the point clear, right? Both me and Ludwig, we are very much fans of sites like itch.io and GOG, right?
Yes.
I try to promote them as much as possible. They are super good, right? Because like DRM-free is... What am I trying to say? Like physical games, there is value to physical games in some... How should I say this, Ludwig? Like the physical... There is something to the aspect that the games are physical, right? That matters in terms of it clarifies ownership, right? Where if I have a copy of I don't know, Red Dead Redemption. Why Red Dead? I don't know. Right? On the PlayStation 3.
Because it's the best game in the last decade. What are you talking about?
No, the original one, obviously, not the new
okay.
one. Yeah. The PlayStation 3 one, right? And I can... It's very, like, I don't know, legally, in quotation mark, clear that if I give you my copy, that's fine because you can borrow my copy, right? I can give it to you and then you can give it back to me. And I can sell my copy because if I don't have it anymore, like it's a physical thing that I can sell to someone else. So that part is really clear with the physical stuff, right? And it's not clear to me, at least, how to do that with the digital, right? But with DRM-free, at least, it's, you know, you're at least owning what you bought, right? Even if you can't transfer it, it's very... So the thing we mentioned earlier, right, with the responsibility of the companies keeping the games existing, right, that's still there on digital. But then again, like we said, GOG, like their entire business thing is that they're trying to preserve old games, right?
Yeah.
Even if, to be honest with you, a lot of the old games they're trying to preserve is not the ones I want.
Yeah, they're not preserving the good ones.
No, but they're trying, right? They're trying. So they're doing something, right? So I want to support them as much as possible. And I mean, itch obviously is super great because the developers get a lot of money and stuff, right? And you can like donate extra, and some of the time they give you Steam keys as well if you want it on Steam for some reason. Yeah. So what was my point with that? Well, my point is that I understand that it's harder with digital, but I think for me at least, something like these DRM-free platforms is good enough, right? If I could get a hold of whatever games, right, on these platforms, that would be fine.
Yeah.
For me, right? But the problem is that you're still running into the stuff with the older stuff, right? Like who owns the whatever license for whatever, right? And who can and who is allowed to sell what to who, and music is usually the most common one, right? But there is other stuff where it's like, the publish, like there's a publisher that has the rights to one half, and the, you know, like
like different parts of the games and stuff like that.
Yeah, like they have the rights to publish it, but they don't have the rights to make it. So or whatever. So there's two companies that have the rights or whatever. And it was even worse back in the day because they weren't so careful with their rights and stuff. So a lot of games are very screwed in that way, right? You can't access. And I don't know, like I don't know how legally, I guess, to solve this, right? Because I guess the problem is that the law kind of sucks around this, right? It needs to be way more sophisticated around the digital stuff. It's way behind. It makes no sense how what am I trying to say? Like like I said earlier, when you have physical games, it is very clear, right? But ownership is less clear when we're talking about digital stuff. So we need more clear laws around it, right? I guess. Does that make sense?
Isn't that partly what like Stop Killing Games are trying to do?
Yes, it is. It's a bit different because they wouldn't solve this issue, right? Of of still providing the games, right? You can't get a hold of you would still need a physical copy or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So they're just trying, if you already have a license, they need to provide access to that.
They need to keep it playable.
Yeah.
Which would actually make a big difference, right? Because, you know, even if you can't legally get a hold of the game, if it's still playable, then you can get a hold of it in other ways, right?
Yeah.
So it like solves the problem.
Or if you want to play it, it solves the problem, but it doesn't solve the problem legally, I guess.
Legally, exactly, yeah. That's my point. Because like, wasn't it like the original game that like sparked this was they shut down the crew, right?
Yeah. I mean, the original. I think they were just using that as a...
Yeah, true. But that's like the main sort of example given.
Yeah. I think they basically used that because the timing was good and because it was a EU game.
Yeah.
So because they wanted to, the Stop Killing Games is a EU initiative or whatever, right? So they wanted a European game because then that's under European law, right?
Yeah. True. But yeah. So my point with bringing that up as an example is that, you can't play the crew at all, right? So that's like an even worse problem, and that's what Stop Killing Games is solving, which I am very thankful for. It hasn't happened yet, but it seems to be going well. But yeah, there was a point I wanted to make with this. I forgot.
You forgot your point.
Yes, I forgot my point. Anyways, so like... Yeah, it's so okay. Yeah, so now I remember. So I wanted to talk about Nintendo for a second here. That's what I wanted to get to. Yeah. So as you said, Nintendo are atrocious with these things. They are an atrocious company in general.
They are the worst company. These things, the worst gaming company.
They are the worst gaming company.
They are
by
worse
far.
than Electronic Arts. They're worse than Activision. They're worse than Life. They're the worst company.
They are, and it's. I was thinking about this when you mentioned the law, right? How the law is behind.
Yeah.
And isn't it like Nintendo that's like actively shutting down attempts for basically people to play their old games? Yep. Yeah. Which is absolutely insane.
And they're succeeding, by the way. So,
exactly.
Like, for example, the 3DS emulator is shut down. You can still, there's like, because it's open source, right? There's forks of it, right? But the original team are not allowed legally to, like, they were sued and are not allowed to work on it anymore.
Yeah.
So they can't work on the emulator, which is, thank you, Nintendo.
Yeah, very nice.
Which is extra terrible because, like, 3DS games, right? The 3DS is, it's cool that it has 2 screens or whatever, but it's tiny, right? So it's not nice to play on.
It's a terrible experience to play on, yeah.
So, and you can't hook it up to a monitor, by the way. Like, there's no way. Like, you can mod it, so you can do it, but with the original one, you can't hook it up to a monitor. So you're stuck with that super tiny screen, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And also, like, wouldn't Nintendo sue you for trying to mod the 3DS?
I mean, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very insane, to bring this back to the law thing. It's like that is not something that should be legally allowed for Nintendo to just shut down stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it isn't actually. The problem is not in their defense, because fuck Nintendo actually. Yeah. But I think what they get them on is like they have paid stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So they'll have like some, I don't know what they had, I don't remember, but you get what I'm saying, right? Where it's they're. Because
because they're making money off Nintendo stuff.
There was something like that in that case, and they obviously they are abusing that to get the shit shut down, right? But sorry, continue.
No. So that was I guess I made my point clear. It's like that's one example of why the law needs to catch up, right?
Yeah, and can I just say more shit about Nintendo, because fuck Nintendo. This is hate Nintendo episode.
Yes.
They re-released like some games. I don't remember. I think they did it more than once, but with some Mario games and stuff. And they actively said, right, that it would be a limited release to like push up,
like
demand.
Push up demand.
Yeah. So like they're like actively abusing the like scarcity thing, right? And shutting down any attempt to preserve their stuff. Like they're the worst company in the universe. I hate them. I mean, in the gaming universe. To be clear, gaming universe.
I guess this is a good point to pivot to what could perhaps be considered a solution that's not legal to all these problems, right?
Well, we can talk about a legal solution.
Okay.
Or do we want to talk? Yeah, go in whatever order you want.
Well, you seemed like you wanted
I mean, they're the same, so go.
Yeah, okay. Well, so I wanted to talk about piracy.
Right, yeah. Which is the only way to preserve these games currently. Which is kind of sad, but...
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, like, I am a person who very happily pays for games.
Same.
Pays for stuff in general. Yeah. Like, I try to pay for stuff as much as possible because, like, I want good stuff, and if you pay for it, you will get more good stuff, and you will get better stuff, and so on and so on.
Yeah, I mean, both you and I were, like, the weirdos that go to, like, bands' website, not websites, but you know what I mean, like, buy music.
Yeah, like, buy music.
Actually buy music, like that. Albums, and download them instead of going to the streaming stuff, right? So yeah.
And same with like itch.io and stuff like that. You know, I try to buy there as often as possible, or like directly from the developer because they get more money and that's good.
Yeah.
But a big but. Piracy is like increasingly becoming 100% morally correct, in my opinion.
And the only way to play games as well, right? Yeah.
Yes. Because you literally cannot play a lot of these games without piracy.
Yeah.
And that's sort of insane. That like, okay, I am a person who is willing to pay for this game, but there is no option for me to pay for this game, so I have to play it illegally.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I don't play games illegally, right?
Yeah, no one does.
But if I were to hypothetically do it, you know, I would have to do it if I wanted to hypothetically play these hypothetical games, right? Yeah. Which actually, I want to go on a tangent here to movies. Because we've discussed movies, not on the podcast before, but in real life. And one thing that both you and I find really weird about movies is that you literally cannot buy a movie.
Yeah, no, it's not possible.
Yeah. Which, like, games are going that way as well, right? We're already basically there, but there are some options like itch and GOG and stuff like that. But movies, you literally cannot buy.
No, it's
like,
physically impossible.
I want to be able to go on, like, Paramount Pictures website, give them, like, $20 or whatever, and then get the MP4 for whatever movie it is, right? I cannot do that. I have to get, like, a Netflix subscription or something.
Yep.
And so... You know, once again, it's the same phenomenon. Like, if I could buy movies, I would buy movies.
And
but since I cannot...
One thing more with your thing there, right?
Yeah.
That's assuming that movie came out in the last 5 years, because if it didn't, you probably can't even get it on the streaming sites, right? Like the legal streaming sites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then the only option is, once again, the illegal stuff, right? And so the point with all this is... like, what the fuck are these companies doing, I guess? It's like they could provide these games legally for me.
I mean,
like, obviously, if there's, like, licensing issues with the music or whatever, I understand that they don't want to bother with it, so, like, they don't sell it. But if there aren't any issues with it, just sell the game to me. Like, I want to pay for it.
I mean, the problem is that these companies are not, in the movie case, they're not movie companies, they're money companies. And the amount of people, unfortunately, I think, that would do what you're describing is not worth the effort, right? Yeah. That's the problem. But it's still, like, irresponsible as fuck, right?
Yeah, but I feel like also they are kind of conditioning people to
pirate stuff,
be that way. But yeah, exactly, because, like, you know, if you look at the arcade scene, for example, you know, those people, they don't buy arcade games in general, right? Yeah. They play them.
I mean, they buy them if they're available, right?
Yeah, exactly. If they're available, that's my point, right? Yeah. But most of them aren't. Yeah. And so they end up having to play them illegally.
Yeah.
And so, like, I guess my point is that, like, if they actually made an effort to try to provide these things legally, maybe people would be, you know, more keen on not pirating stuff and actually paying for it.
Yeah. And two more. I have 2 points actually I want to make with what you said there. The first one is that it's the sad thing, right? Because which we'll discuss more in a bit, which is that sometimes these ports, right, of the old games, they don't run as well as the original ones, right?
Yeah.
For various reasons, right? Like they're emulated, but poorly emulated or something, and you can't do anything about it. So then we're getting into the legal experience is worse than the illegal experience and stuff like that as well. But we'll get to that later. I wanted to touch on one more point, which is something else we've discussed offline regarding movies, which I think applies to games as well. And that's actually literacy, I guess is the word, right? So I have noticed this phenomenon because I don't watch that many movies. Actually, I'm pretty casual with movies.
Yeah.
But I have friends that watch a lot of movies. And then I have some friends that watch a lot of, you know, of the what a distinction of basically, you know, some people watch movies with the legal way, right? They watch the latest movies, they stream everything, they watch the TV series, right, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I have some friends that are like very into movies and they watch all the old stuff, and they usually don't, you know, pay for all of it, right? And what I notice, which is super sad, right? And I it's the same with games, but it's super sad, and it's the like literacy level of these two people, right? The person that watches the old stuff, and like not necessarily only the old stuff, right? Just a variety of stuff because they have everything available because they're not following the rules, right? They just have, in my opinion, better taste in movies, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think that's the same with games, and maybe this is like I don't know, sad, like maybe it's intentional, right? Because if you keep people illiterate, then you don't have to make good new movies and good new games.
True.
Right?
Good point. Yeah.
So it's sort of like this super scary, not scary, you get what I say, like, what's the word? Depressing worldview, where it's like keep them dumb so they keep buying the bad stuff because they don't have access to the stuff that's actually good.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that is a big part of the issue as well, probably in games, right? Where I think a lot of the arguments about, you know, obviously it's not only that, what am I trying to say? Like, we argue a lot for the more gamey games, right? And and sure, partly of it because we're fucking nerds and play a lot of games, right? But I think also it's partly because there is a lot of younger generations, right? That they haven't experienced any of this yet, right?
Yeah.
So for them, this is all new, and so it like keeps going in circles, right? Because because we're throwing away all the old stuff.
Yeah.
No one learns anything from the old stuff. So every generation has to go through the same steps, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's very interesting with remakes, right?
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah. So like
we've been discussing a lot.
We've been discussing a lot recently the remake for Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Yeah.
And how the developers claim that it's a quote-unquote faithful remake of the game. The problem is that they have significantly changed the story. They have significantly changed the combat. They have significantly changed all of the environments. And they have basically significantly changed everything.
Also, they removed half the game.
Yes, that's what I mean with significantly changed the story.
What's the guy?
Yeah, the
Desmond part,
guy.
Which, to be clear, I'm not saying that part is good. I'm just saying, if you're claiming that it's faithful, you can't remove half the game.
Yeah. Exactly. And so we actually we have this incredibly funny reference, which I found the other day.
Oh yes.
Which
what was the quote?
which is that remakes are literally 1984.
Oh, I thought you were gonna quote the. Sorry, continue.
Or did you have another quote? You can bring it up.
Yeah. Go ahead first.
Or is it?
No, it was relevant to the Assassin's Creed. I don't remember it exactly, but
ahead.
it was this Swedish gaming website.
Mm-hmm.
Where like the quote was like, it was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It was like, it's like you said, it's a faithful remake, but we're changing everything, right? Or something. Mm-hmm. I don't. What was it? Do you remember which one I'm thinking of?
No, I don't remember.
It was like.
But yeah, it was basically something like that.
Yeah. So it's like we're staying faithful but changing everything, and it was like, that's not how words work. You can't say you're doing it faithfully and then you're not doing it. Like, I mean, you can, but it doesn't make any sense. Sorry. Now you can go back to 1984.
Yeah. So for those of you that haven't read 1984, I'm not gonna spoil it, but I am gonna bring up one topic that is very relevant to the book 1984, right? Which is this idea of like rewriting history. So like in the book there are a lot of examples of like the government says something and then that ends up not being true, and then they rewrite history so that they said that thing in the past. So like when you look up the newspapers, they all said, oh yeah, the government said that thing, not the other thing, stuff like that. And I think it's really, really interesting, having read that book fairly recently and then like looking at all of these remakes, because it's literally the exact same thing.
Right.
Like remakes are literally 1984. They are taking these games, they are changing them into something completely different, and then they're claiming that, oh yeah, this is the same as the old thing.
Yeah.
And it's not even close, right? It's like none of the like, what do you want to call it? Like, I guess the best way to say it is that, they say that they modernize archaic gameplay or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And we often say, right, archaic or outdated gameplay, that doesn't really mean anything, right? Because it doesn't. It's like, yeah, the controls are clunky maybe, but that's not necessarily outdated. That could be a stylistic choice, right?
But the thing with that, right, as well, is that the fact that the controls are clunky is not even correct. It's that they are unconventional, right? Because the controls, the control way you control it now is also clunky. It's just that that's the way most games do it, so people are used to it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And the problem with these remakes is that they look at the game that may or may not have clunky controls or whatever. Let's take that as an example, and they say, oh yeah, this is archaic and outdated. We need to modernize this, and then they make it into literally every game that has been released in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't the new Black Flag basically have the same combat from like the newer Assassin's Creed games?
I think so. It's not the same as the old one, at least.
Yeah, exactly. So it's way more like, I don't want to say Souls-like, but I guess that's what I'm going to say.
Oh yeah, it's definitely exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It also, by the way, I read, if you press the start button, it opens the menu. But if you press the start button again, what do you think it does?
Opens the shop.
That's literally what it does, yes.
Oh, I guessed correctly.
I mean, it wasn't that hard to guess.
Yeah.
So instead of, like every other game, you close it. No, you don't close it. You open the shop. And it has like pop-ups for the...
Did Assassin's Creed 4 even have a shop?
No,
I don't think so, right?
No. Not in the game, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
It probably had some like microtransactions on the store or whatever, but not...
Yeah.
Like, which is another interesting topic. Like, maybe I can touch on that for like 2 seconds. Like, I think that's sort of an interesting thing as well, right? With a lot Ubisoft, right? Games that they... like... Obviously, I don't like microtransactions either way, right? But there's a huge difference between microtransactions inside of the game and outside of the game. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah.
Right, so like, you can buy 50 skins on the Steam store, right? That's obviously not nice. But the fact, like the way Ubisoft, I think they're killing themselves, basically is what I'm saying. Because I think people actually can't stand the fact that, you're playing a game and then you get by the way, do you want the like unicorn skin for, fuck you, right? Yeah. Sorry, that was off. I just had to rant.
Well, Ubisoft aren't doing that well, so
thank fuck.
I think you have a point. Yeah.
Another shit company like Nintendo.
Yeah. But yeah. So the reason that I bring up these remakes is that it once again ties into this whole like piracy, doing illegal stuff in order to be literate, right? Because like a lot of times these games are like you can't buy the old version of the games.
Yeah.
And so the remake is the only one you can get.
Yeah.
I think it's actually quite common for them to like do a remaster and a remake at the same time or whatever. But some games
which is
you can
nice.
only get
I approve of that actually. That's really nice because then it's like, look, you can go play the old one, and here is the worst version.
Or
the garbage version.
But yeah, I think we're increasingly going to see, because like remakes are a fairly new phenomenon. I say it's like 5 years old at this point.
No, it's 10 at this point.
Yeah, probably. But we're probably gonna see a lot more in the future that like, okay, the only version of the game that's actually available is the remake. Actually, wasn't that the case with we were trying to play the Epic Mickey game, right?
Oh my god, yes.
And you literally could not get the original. You could only get the remake.
Yeah.
And the remake like changed things considerably and like modernized the gameplay, as they say. And so we ended up not playing it at all.
It was like Reddit thread. It's like, can I play the original? It's like, no, but don't worry, they have modernized it. Fuck off.
All of this is just very sad. Because like
it makes me angry.
I think this is very similar to what we've touched upon before with like live service games. How like over time you lose the original game and like you literally cannot access it anymore. Because like they've updated the game and changed it so much. So like if I want to play, I don't know, Rainbow Six or whatever, Rainbow Six Siege, sorry, to be clear, it's like, oh yeah, I actually can't do that because like the game is in an unplayable state right now, and there's no way for me to roll back to a state where it was playable, and so I can't play it. And it's gonna be the same with single player games. It already is the same with single player games, but it's gonna get worse soon.
I mean, can it get any worse? Like, the new games are not that good, so I don't care if they disappear. I'm more worried about the old stuff.
True.
You
mean that all that's been lost already is like
more valuable.
Like if we lose more stuff, it's nothing of value.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
True. Good point. Never mind. Sony, go ahead.
Well, I guess we could bring up like one thing about this, right? So one thing I don't understand, or I mean I understand why, because they only care about money again, but still, for the so like to run some of these games, obviously you need the original hardware, right? But people have figured out how to solve this, right? Not legally, but they have figured. I mean, yes, actually, that part of it is legal. It's legal to emulate stuff, at least in Sweden, right? You are allowed to make an emulator of hardware in Sweden. I don't know about other countries, right? But you're not allowed to pirate the games, obviously, right? So, in theory, you would need to get the cartridge and like have some custom built thing that can extract the files from the cartridge from an old game and to run it in the emulator, right? And so my question then is, if people have figured out that you can do this emulation thing, and actually a lot of the ports of older games are just emulating games, right? They're just running these open source emulators in a fancy skin or whatever, right? I'm pretty sure that's what for example, we mentioned the M2 ports earlier, right? Of the cave games. I think that's just a port. I don't know what emulator, right? But I'm pretty sure that's just like a layer on top of an emulator, right? And they're probably licensed. But my point is, why are the companies going through this effort to do this part, right? Why can't they just provide the games, right? The game files, the ROMs as they're usually called, right? They could just sell those, right? Or am I missing something?
Yeah, no, I would buy them.
Right? Like there would have to be some text thing like you need to set up an emulator to play this or something, right? Or whatever, right? But
obviously they couldn't sell it as like a playable game, and they probably wouldn't be able to like sell it on Steam and stuff like that. But like if I want to like go to their website and there's like, oh yeah, you can buy this version of this game that doesn't work, but if you put in the effort, yeah, go ahead, have the files.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes you need like BIOS and shit, and I guess they would need to provide that somehow as well if they have the rights to that. Sure, right? So that could be issues, but that's not an issue for all platforms, right? Some of them, it's just some platforms where that is an issue. Yeah. And also they could just sell the games at least, and then let the other people handle the other stuff, right? My point is, I would pay for ROMs. I guess it's my point, right? If they were available, but I don't understand why they don't sell.
Although I do think that like at this point they're kind of fucked, and it goes back to what I said, like how they've conditioned people to pirate stuff. Because like if someone wants a ROM for like an old arcade game or whatever, they're just gonna download it because it's super easy.
Sure, but like it's super easy for them as well to just, if they already have a website, right, or something, or let's say there was a platform where they could sell it, right? I mean, they can sell it on itch if they want, right? Who fucking cares?
Yeah,
right?
True.
They can just upload as long as they have the rights, right? Again, rights. There's a lot of ifs here, right, or whatever you call it, right? But let's say they have the rights and they have the files. They can upload all of them to itch and sell them for like, I don't know, some ridiculous price. I would still buy them probably, right? And sure, like you said, people are conditioned to pirate the stuff, so most people won't. But I mean, if it's easy for them, then it doesn't matter, right? In my mind.
Yeah.
And also from a preservation perspective, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So like, I mean, sure, if we're talking about companies again, right? Companies suck and companies only care about money, but if they care about their reputation, it's kind of nice to do stuff like that, right? I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree. Like, I think my point is, because it's not only for games like that, I think my point is, there is this mindset that if you sell these games, they have to work. And I guess maybe that makes sense because like,
well, you're not selling it as a game. You're
that's
selling
my point,
it as, yeah, here's the games file. Game files.
Yeah, that's my point. But like, there is old like PC games, for example, as well, where it's like, oh, I've seen companies talk about this, right? Where it's like, oh, I want to sell, or we would sell this game, but we don't have the source code and it doesn't run on a modern machine or something. And it's like, who cares, right? Like, there's a million mods and like DLL injections stuff you can do on Windows to fix it, right? It doesn't need to work out of the box. You can just sell the files and be like, look, here is some files for this old game. It's not a game, it's the files. You figure out how to run it, right? Like, even if there's, let's say it's like DRM, right? It's like, oh, it's this old, like, actually, fuck it, we can go even for like an old game that, you know, needed some server to run or whatever, right? I don't know, let's say like Battlefield 2, I don't know why, right?
Yeah.
They can sell because you can't run that, right? Multiplayer, I think.
Well, I think there's like,
no, actually, they can sell it still because they have single player, I think, and stuff. Maybe.
Yeah.
But like, let's say an old game where that was always online or whatever, right? They can just sell those files, right? I mean, I get it. No one's gonna buy it, but maybe someone will, because someone, you know, their servers and shit and whatever. I mean, maybe that case is a bit extreme, right? Because it's like, then you have to play it illegally, but.
Yeah.
But from a preservation perspective, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, the files just being available is still valuable, right? It's my point.
Yeah, because then it like it always means that like someone in the future can make it playable, right?
Yes, exactly.
And that's way better than the game just disappearing.
Yeah. And a lot of these games have like private servers and stuff, and then you can argue the legality of that or whatever, but who cares, right? I mean, it's not like the illegal part there. I think is that you have to provide files that are modified to someone else to run it, right? That's the illegal part. If that makes sense, like you need to modify the executable or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to distribute the executable. I don't know the details, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah. So I guess my point is not that they should sell it as games. They should sell it as, here is some old code or something, right? For specifically for preservation purposes, right? Look, here is the old code, like some archive website or something, right?
Like a game design archive.
Yeah, no, game archive. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Where you can like, look, here is a bunch of like old stuff, and none of it works. But some of them work because people have figured it out how to run them, and you can pay for them somehow, right? And the companies get some money and whatever, right?
Yeah.
Because the way
that would be way better.
the way it is today is garbage, right? It's like, oh look, you can't get you don't have access to any of the good games basically, and like legally, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm being a bit. There are games available, but still, right? The majority of the good.
Yeah, but like old good games are not available. In general, and it's important to preserve.
Yeah, and
You know, it goes back to the literacy thing you said, right?
Yeah.
It's like if these games aren't playable, we're like not gonna have very developed thoughts about games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas if they are, we will.
Yeah, and also we mentioned this before, but like the experience as well. We talked to Bogu, right, and he talked about Street Fighter 2 or something. What was he talking about? Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
Super Turbo.
Super Turbo, right? And we were like, maybe we should like check out that game or something. Or we were, I don't remember what it was. We were just gonna play a old fighting game. We figured because the new ones are garbage, right? Like most other new stuff. And there was this port where you could play it, I think, and then it was like, no, don't play it here. Play it on this other service, right? And it was like, yeah, it's basically just objectively better in every single way on that other platform. But you don't have to pay, right? Like the one we were looking at was a paid version, right? Yeah. So it's a paid version, fairly expensive, because you get a bunch of stuff you don't, like. We wanted one of the games, not all of the games.
Yeah, it was like the 30-year collection or whatever.
And apparently the experience is garbage and no one is playing here. Versus free, better experience, people play there, has a bunch of features that this version doesn't have, right?
To be clear, not legally.
Not legally. That was where you're gonna get. That's the problem, right? Again, like why is it? Why have we built up this like system around this, right? Where the optimal way, like the best way to play a lot of these games is the illegal way. That makes no sense, right? That's super dumb. And this goes back, by the way, to normal games as well, right? Because a lot of them have these insane DRMs. Thankfully, it's mostly garbage games that do that. But even some good games do that. Like, why are we doing it this way, right? It's so dumb. I don't know. I mean, I get why they get away with it, because, like, the law. But I don't know. I don't know how to fix it. It just bothers me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's so unfortunate. Because then, like, our conclusion was like, well, we didn't want to play that game that much, and now we don't. Then we gave up, right?
We ended up not playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was like we said earlier, maybe if they sold the game files, right? Maybe we could get them running, and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or like Yeah, because the problem is with these ports, they require a lot of effort, and I don't think it's worth it, considering, again, you said they have conditioned people to not pay for old stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The people who are interested in these things, they don't care about getting it legally, right?
Yeah.
And so no one ends up doing it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot. I want to defend these people. I think a lot of them are willing to pay.
Yeah,
it's just that they are not gonna play an inferior version for it, right?
I'm not saying they are bad people. They are doing the reasonable thing,
exactly.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh yeah, these people are bad because they do it illegally. No, they are doing the correct thing. Right? It's just that, like, these companies aren't. They're stupid about it, basically.
Yeah, DRMs are kind of garbage as well.
Yes, kind of garbage. No, they are garbage.
I mean, there is like a difference, right? Because we mentioned this before. Like, a CD key is not like the end of the world, right? You have a game, and the game has something you need to put in to make it run, and it's like, yeah, okay, that's that's not that big of a deal, right? It's like you need your disk and that key or whatever. But if it's like, oh no, that's connected to something and need to be always online, and it checks your thing every 5 minutes, and if you do it,
There were two more things we wanted to bring up today. Which one do you want to bring up first?
I don't know which ones are we.
So the first one is emulation, which we've already discussed a little bit.
Yeah, then start there, I guess.
Okay. So yeah, the point you pointed out something very, very funny actually before the episode, which is one of the reasons why we bring up this point. So like obviously we've been talking a bit about emulation already in this episode, but like emulation is really like the future of like actual gaming, real gaming. And the funny thing that you pointed out is that, you know, in a few years, everyone's gonna be emulating Windows as well, right?
I mean, they already are. Sorry,
yeah,
it's
but
not
like not
technically
everybody.
the same thing. But the thing is, like, in the future, they're actually, sorry to interrupt you, they're actually gonna really emulate it, because I think, you know, if we're going hardware side, I think ARM is gonna win out, right? Over x86. So most hardware will be ARM, which means you'll emulate x86 to run old Windows games. So you'll emulate Windows on an ARM machine, right? Sorry, continue.
No. So the funny thing is, right? You know, with Steam putting all this work into Proton and making Windows stuff playable on Linux. That's like, okay, so we're not only emulating the games now, we're also emulating the literal operating system, because like the operating system has become so bad and terrible that you can't use it anymore. I think as we said, it's like if you're gonna wanna play these games, you're gonna have to emulate them, and so I think emulators are gonna be big in the future.
Yeah, I mean, Proton is if we're gonna be super technical here, right? It's a slight difference, because it's you could argue it's emulating the Windows API, right? But it's not emulating the hardware, because it's the same hardware, so it's still running natively on the machine, right? Because it's the same instruction set. It's just how it's run or whatever. But I think if we go further, right, 20 years or in the future or something, right? Maybe, right? If you want to play a game from 2005, right, you're gonna have to emulate the Windows machine, right?
Yeah.
Because the hardware is probably gonna be very different and stuff, right?
Yeah, and the software, I guess.
Yeah.
Probably not gonna run Windows in 2035 or whatever.
Hopefully not. Hopefully Windows is
hopefully
done.
Not. I'm not going to.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that either.
Yeah.
So like that is also a part of it. That's like you said, it's interesting, because obviously emulation is the future for well, at least for game preservation, right? But like even
I mean, I think like in the future, if you want to play good games, you're gonna have to emulate.
Yeah, it's basically.
Because like there are good games that you don't have to emulate today, but they are getting fewer by the day, right?
I mean, so in defense of some developers are more responsible than others, right? So they're actually porting the games, so those will probably be playable on your platforms. So for example, Nintendo, you're not gonna see anything playable on hardware by Nintendo, because Nintendo is the worst company in the world, gaming world.
Yes.
But some other companies are more responsible with ports, for sure.
Yeah. Now, on to the final point of the day, perhaps. We're probably gonna have like a bunch of tangents and whatever.
I love tangents.
So, as I often say in these episodes, I play a lot of Counter-Strike. And Counter-Strike has an anti-cheat software called Valve Anti-Cheat. That anti-cheat software is not kernel level. And that is something that a lot of people have been brainwashed into thinking is bad, I would say. I would go so far to say that. So you'll often see people when they talk about Counter-Strike, they will say, oh yeah, Valve should just do like everyone else is doing right now and do some kernel level anti-cheat, because I don't want to deal with the cheaters or whatever. First of all, CS doesn't really have a cheating problem. Like, obviously there are cheaters in Counter-Strike, but you're not going to run into them very often.
It's on the same level as other free-to-play games, right?
Exactly. It's like, maybe if you're unlucky 1 in 100 matches, probably less. So it's like, the game is not unplayable because of cheaters or whatever.
What do you mean? He hit me and...
yeah, exactly.
Obviously it's cheating, he hit me.
Yeah. But the thing that I find really, really fun about this is that, Counter-Strike has these other, like, I don't want to say community because they're very corporate also, but like community-run competitive environments or whatever you want to call it. They probably have a fancy official name. But so, for example, Faceit is the most popular, right? And then you also have ESEA and a bunch of others.
Yeah.
And one of the benefits, quote unquote, that people say playing on these things is that they have better anti-cheat. So Faceit, for example, has kernel level anti-cheat, I know. But the funny thing is that I was gonna say a few years ago, but I think it's probably even more than 10 years at this point. There was an incident with the previously mentioned ESEA, because they also had kernel level anti-cheat. The problem was that along with their kernel level anti-cheat, they had bundled a nice Bitcoin miner.
Very nice.
Yes. So the anti-cheat software was also serving as a Bitcoin miner, and people who wanted to play some CS unfortunately got their PC used for Bitcoin mining, basically.
Free money.
And yes, and I think it's so funny that like the CS community is so pro kernel level anti-cheat when stuff like this has literally happened in like recent CS history. It's like you should know, if anyone, why kernel level anti-cheat is bad.
Yeah.
But no, everyone keeps wanting it for some reason.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. So I'm not an expert on this stuff, obviously, right? But it's interesting to me because looking at some older games, right? And like looking at people discuss security in older games, it's obvious to me that security in games is actually not the highest priority, right? Mm-hmm. That like there's a lot of exploits in how a lot of these games, their net stuff is coded, right? Yeah. There was some like remote access stuff in older Call of Duty, for example, right? Mm-hmm. So to give these companies like kernel level access,
yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, but like that is actually insane. Yes. I don't know. Like we're talking about. I get it. We care about video games, right? But kernel level access to my computer, and to be clear, it's not even about because that's also an issue, by the way, that the company can, access everything on your computer, right? Mm-hmm. That is not even the issue I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the fact that any bug in the software is like a serious exploit, right? Because an outsider can gain access to your PC and not, just the game or whatever, right? Because, like, basically, to explain this in a simpler way, right? For those that don't know, and also I'm not an expert, right? But if you run, like, if the anti-cheat runs in the executable, then it's sort of, it's not obviously super protected, but it's sort of protected by what it can do from the from that level, right? Yeah. But if you're running it on kernel level, you're basically running it on OS level, which means like it can do way more stuff, basically. Mm-hmm. So it could read a bunch of memory and stuff, right? So, they can do not nice stuff.
It could mine Bitcoin, for example.
Well, they can mine Bitcoin on software level as well, right? Technically.
Yeah, but would it always be on though?
It depends. I mean, they could set up a thing that you would see. There would be an executable probably, right, that you can see or something. But they could probably set it up so it auto does that. Yes, I think so. True. I think that's possible. Again, I'm not an expert, but like reading all the memory on the PC is not the nicest. Like having access to that is not too great, right? So like, I think there is how should I say this? Like going back to what you said again, right? Obviously, cheating is not nice. People cheating in games, but forcing me to basically run these games in a VM because they're unsafe to run on my PC is not nice either, right?
Yeah, no. Yeah, because the thing that I get annoyed by is like, are these things really actually helping combat cheaters, right? Because these games
no, they
cheaters.
do something else. I can tell you what they do if you want.
Yeah.
Should I, or do you want to go first?
Well, yeah, I can finish my thought first. So like, first of all, they probably aren't helping that much. But second of all, even if they were helping, it's like I would much rather play against cheaters regularly than have that shit on my computer.
Yes, right? I agree.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, no, the obvious, like these things are obviously not to prevent cheaters. They're DRM.
Yeah.
Right, that's what they are. They're just trying to, they're making it harder to crack your games. That's the only reason they're kernel level. Because like if they have to emulate some like kernel level thing, that's way more annoying to crack, right? So that's all it's doing, and they're tricking people into believing it's to prevent cheating.
Yeah.
I guess it's also in combination with the like, because usually these anti-cheat companies are not the actual game companies.
Yeah.
So it's also there where it's like some company that tricks some other company to buy their shit, right?
Yeah.
But I am sure, I haven't seen those deals, but I am 100%, no, 99% sure, right? That these deals also, like, they're like, yeah, you get this anti-cheat, blah, blah, blah. By the way, it also gets harder to crack, right?
Yeah.
But like, that's part of the bonus of the deal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just weird because it's become this like, in multiplayer games, it's become this like massive thing where like, if your game doesn't have kernel level anti-cheat, it needs to have it now.
Yeah,
and that's it's why absolutely insane.
No one's playing any games. No. Thankfully, Linux is actually saving us a bit because they can't run the kernel level stuff on Linux. So some games have actually dropped it to support Linux.
Yeah.
One thing, point to clarify what I said there, right? Obviously, there are better, like the always online DRMs are stronger, of course, than like kernel level anti-cheat as DRM. But my point is that since people have been tricked into believing that these things work, it's like from the company's PR perspective, it's way better for them to put in kernel level anti-cheat and say that's to prevent cheaters, but it's actually DRM, right?
Yeah. We're gonna have to release a single player game with kernel level anti-cheat.
You know.
Oh, there already is one.
I'm
maybe?
pretty sure there are games.
Yeah, you have like co-op games that have it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't remember which ones, but I know I've seen it.
Yeah. Doesn't VR chat have kernel level anti? Or maybe not kernel. Doesn't it run easy anti-cheat or something?
Probably. Well, easy anti-cheat is kernel level.
Yeah, exactly. So then kernel level anti-cheat on
VR.
It's also unclear, right? Because like you said, there's like, for example, easy anti-cheat you didn't use to be it, so it's like unclear when it have easy anti-cheat if it is kernel level or not, right?
Yeah.
Because I think it's like depending on the version. Maybe they have provide different versions.
Yeah.
So because it's not like there's a law that they need to tell you all of this, right? So yeah.
Luckily, Steam does that pretty well, actually.
Yeah,
because they say like, oh yeah, this has kernel level anti-cheat.
I don't know if you have to, but they I don't know what.
I think they do.
Okay,
I think
maybe they do.
But I'm not sure.
I mean, maybe according to Steam they have to, but
yeah, exactly. According to the law, no, probably not.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
So yeah, anti-cheat is garbage. And I mean, if you want like, what do you say, promoting our own stuff, even though the video is old, we've talked about multiplayer stuff, like, well, how do you solve cheaters? Well, you do the thing that you did 20 years ago, right? You have people,
you have an admin,
and you have a server, and you don't do this like toxic garbage, grind, slop, matchmaking shit, right?
Yeah.
You do the community building, good feeling stuff with the servers, and yeah.
You should watch that video. It's like our second video ever.
I don't know if it's that good though. I don't remember.
It has to be good.
Yeah, all our videos are super good. Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely didn't get better over time or anything. No.
No.
Like it's not like it's a like, you know, it's not like practicing.
It's just like with video games.
Yeah,
either you're good or you're bad.
Totally.
Like that's the way it is.
Yeah.
You can't improve. You can't practice. No.
That's true. It's true. Lots of truth today.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to rant about, or are you gonna say, well, as usual, I could rant forever, but I'm not gonna do it? Yeah. Okay. That's a good way to end the episode. So, thank you all for watching.
And go watch our previous episode. We had spiders, SG on.
We had spiders on, and if you missed the Boghog episode, watch us also.
Yeah, no,
what were you gonna say, sorry?
Yeah, we had spiders on, and it was like super interesting, and we talked about, like, we covered some of the stuff we covered today as well, right? With not the DRM stuff, but like we talked about some of the game stuff. Yeah,
old games.
Check that out. It was a like very. Yeah.
It's a long one. It's very like spiritual.
Yeah, exactly. That was what I was gonna say. It's like we talked about the meaning of gaming or something. Yeah, it was a very fun discussion actually. We definitely gonna invite him again sometime.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.